Alright, kids. Drink up. Coke 45. Great beer. Uh, this is Jughead82, and I'm going to show you a couple of my PS2 games. Well, the ones I have. The first game, you've probably seen it already on my review, is SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain. I recommend it to any true wrestling fan who likes wrestling video games. This has to be one of the best in the series. Okay. NBA Live '09. Not really a sports fan that much, but I do have a team that I like, the Spurs. And I do like the gameplay. It's pretty smooth. Great game, though. So if you're a sports fan, pick it up. Mortal Kombat Armageddon. Basically, it has every fighter that was ever, in the history of the Mortal Kombat series. It has great gameplay. The only thing that sucks about it is the fatalities. None of the fighters have their own specific fatalities like in the other Mortal Kombat games. It's more that you press, every move in this game basically is forward, you go for something. But all in all, it's still an alright game. It just doesn't have the, Sub-Zero freezing fatality and whatnot. Batman Begins. This is a game I've never really been able to complete. But, like I say, it's still a great game. I probably should play it again and try to get a more feel for it. But, still a good game, though. As it relates to movie titles and whatnot. Some of these games I don't have the actual cover, but I'll just show you the titles. This is Backyard Wrestling 2. It got bad reviews and whatnot, but I really like the game. I mean, I always liked watching Backyard Wrestling, and I have a couple of Backyard Wrestling DVDs. But I like it though, pretty good. SmackDown vs. Raw '06. Now this is the second counterpart to the SmackDown. Here Comes the Pain. I like this game. Gameplay is pretty decent. Season is pretty good also. And of course, unlike SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain, this one actually does have Hulk Hogan on it. Brother! SmackDown vs. Raw '08. I'm gonna tell you something about this game. It's alright, but it's missing a whole bunch of elements. Compared to '06 and Here Comes the Pain, it has nothing on it. But it's still a alright game. Plus, it features ECW. But the sucking thing about it is some of the wrestlers that were in ECW when the game came out weren't even in ECW. I mean, Sabu, you just named there's a couple of them. Another rented game from GameStop. A ball game from GameStop. This right here is, can you see it? Legends of Wrestling. This is the first one. When I first got Legends of Wrestling, I really did like this game. You know what I'm saying? Some people said, but I thought it was a great first effort, And there's the last Legend of Wrestling game that came out, Showdown Legends of Wrestling. This game, actually, to me, I feel it's a little bit better than the other two that came out before it. It doesn't have as much content as Legends of Wrestling 2, which had a lot of videos of the actual legends. But what makes this game pretty decent is it has the Macho Man Randy Savage, as you can see on the cover. Unlike Legends of WrestleMania, which is a newer game and it doesn't even have one. Plus, there's a bunch of wrestlers on this game that are not featured in Legends of Wrestling. So I guess it's a pretty decent game. Gameplay's a little repetitive over time though. The very first SmackDown vs. Raw. I feel this game was a little disappointment compared to the game that came before it, which was Here Comes the Pain. But all in all, still a decent game. Just the roster is a little too short. SmackDown vs. Raw '07. It's an alright game. It's better than '08. You have a couple of more wrestlers on this one, I think, that are pretty decent to play with. Triple H is, of course, on the cover. Pretty decent game, though. Don't laugh. Rumble Roses. Now, I know what you guys. All female wrestling. That kind of might suck, but not really. This game is pretty decent. Gameplay wise, it's great. It's made by Konami. Graphics, pretty good for a PS2. And a lot of variety. Plus, who doesn't like seeing hot chicks fight? Another wrestling game that is the criminal of the criminal. Fire Pro Returns. Fire Pro Returns is a 2D like style wrestling game, but what makes it great is the gameplay, the accessibility, and the fact that it has nearly 200 plus wrestlers on it. And I do mean 200 plus wrestlers. You can customize the rings. If you want to have a WWE feel, you can customize the rings to have a WWE logo on it. I've created a WCW Monday Nitro logo just to kind of have a flashback of the past, and also I created an OECW logo. But this is a really good game. If you see Fire Pro Wrestling Returns, pick it up. I think you'll be very, very excited. TNA Impact. First got this game, played it for a couple hours, thought, what the fuck did I spend my money on? The game sucks, and it sucks even worse because it's on the PS2, because the graphics have nowhere near the great graphics that were on the Xbox 360 or the PS3. Like I say, avoid this game as much as possible. I'm just mad that I bought it when it first came out, so I spent like $50 for it. Man, John Madden here. As you can see, this is one of the games I got. Great game. This is Madden 08. Decent game. Like I said, I'm not really a sports fan, but I do pick it up and play every so often. I still think it's a pretty decent game for any sports fan. Must grab. God of War 2. I had the first God of War. Figured God of War 2 would be a very decent game. I like the graphics. You know, it's amazing that this game kept the PS2 alive for a minute. And you can see why if you just get the game and get the graphics. Check the graphics out. This is also a part of its greatest hits collection. And the last two games, Tony Hawk Underground 2. I personally have been a Tony Hawk gamer fan for a minute, ever since about Pro Skater. I think that was back like, oh. Well, anyway, I've been a pretty decent fan of this series. Pro 2 is pretty, Underground 2 is pretty decent. It's a little bit better than the first one. And the last game I have is Homer Simpson Donuts. Really haven't gotten to this game that much. I love Simpsons Hit and Run, but this game, you know, it's supposed to be like an upgrade, but I really do think it was more dwelling a little bit into the movie, but not all the way. So, you know, decent game, though. Well, this has been my collection of PlayStation 2 games that I have for my collection of games. If you guys like the collections, you can point out a couple of them. Just give me a quick comment. This is Jughead82 signing off.